Ever whispered sweet nothings to your roses, hoping they'll bloom brighter? But does talking to plants really work? It's an age-old question, one that sprouts from the heart of human curiosity and an innate desire to connect with nature. This concept, as whimsical as it may seem, has roots steeped in folklore and tradition. But what does science have to say about it? Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may initially appear. Botanists have found that plants respond to certain vibrations and the human voice falls within that range. As one botanist puts it, while plants might not understand our words, they're certainly attuned to the rhythm and frequency of our speech. It seems the world of plants is more receptive than we've given it credit for. So next time you're tending to your garden, perhaps striking up a conversation isn't such a wild idea. So the verdict: talking to your plants might not be as crazy as it sounds. Next up, we're brewing a fresh pot of truth about using coffee grounds in your garden. This common practice is steeped in controversy, with some gardeners swearing by it, and others deeming it a myth. But let's get to the root of it, shall we? Picture two plants, side by side. One has been nurtured with the usual compost and water, while the other has enjoyed a daily dose of coffee grounds. Over time, the difference between these two plants becomes clear. The coffee-fed plant is more robust, its leaves a more vibrant green. But why is that? Coffee grounds are rich in nitrogen, a nutrient that plants need to thrive. They also help to improve soil structure and increase its ability to hold water. But remember, moderation is key. Too much of a good thing can be harmful, and coffee grounds are no exception. Overdo it, and you could end up with soil that's too acidic for most plants to handle. Now, let's hear from an experienced gardener. They've seen the effects of coffee grounds firsthand and have some insights to share. Coffee grounds have been a game changer for my garden, they tell us. My plants seem healthier and I've noticed fewer pests. But I've learned to use them sparingly. It's all about balance. So, the next time you finish your morning cup of joe, don't be so quick to toss those grounds. They could be the secret ingredient your garden is craving. Whether you sprinkle them around your plants or mix them into your compost, coffee grounds could give your garden that extra boost it needs. But as with any gardening practice, it's important to observe and adjust based on your plant's reactions. Every garden is unique, just like every gardener. So, experiment with coffee grounds, but always keep an eye on your plant's health and growth. Looks like your plants might enjoy a coffee break as much as you do. Now, let's crack the myth of eggshells as a natural pest deterrent. It's a well-known narrative, isn't it? You finish your breakfast and instead of discarding those eggshells, you crumble them up and sprinkle them around your plants. The theory is that the sharp, jagged edges of the eggshells will discourage pests like slugs and snails from crawling over and munching on your precious plants. But does this method really work, or is it just another gardening myth? Let's take a closer look. We've got some plants here that are infested with pests. We treat some with crushed eggshells and leave others untreated as a control group. After a few days of observation, the results are quite interesting. What we notice is that, while the eggshells do seem to deter some pests, they are not a foolproof solution. Snails and slugs, for instance, can still be seen making their slow journey across the eggshell barrier. It appears that their slimy bodies provide a sort of cushion against the sharp edges of the shells. To get a more scientific perspective, we turn to our experts. According to them, eggshells might have some deterrent effect, but they are not a complete solution to pest problems. They suggest combining eggshells with other pest control methods for a more effective result. For example, eggshells can be a part of a larger integrated pest management strategy. They can be combined with other natural deterrents like diatomaceous earth, copper tape, or even certain plants that pests find unattractive. The eggshells could also be used as a soil amendment, providing a source of calcium for plants. So, to sum it up, eggshells as a pest deterrent is not a total myth, but it's not a magic bullet either. They can be a part of your gardening arsenal, but they should not be your only line of defense against pests. Eggshells, more than just a breakfast side. Indeed, they're a versatile tool in the gardener's kit, but like any tool, they work best when used appropriately, and in conjunction with other strategies. Ever heard that watering your plants at noon will burn them? Let's pour some cold water on that notion. This myth is as old as the hills, and it's easy to see why it has taken root. The theory suggests that water droplets can act like tiny magnifying glasses, focusing the sunlight and scorching your precious plants. But let's dig a little deeper and see what the science says. The origins of this myth are as murky as a garden pond after a heavy rain. Some say it comes from observations of burned leaves in tropical regions, while others believe it's a misinterpretation of the fact that watering in the heat of the day can lead to rapid evaporation, which is simply inefficient. Now, imagine a time lapse of a garden, watered at different times of the day. Dawn, noon, dusk. The camera never blinks, recording the subtle dance of growth and life. Over time it becomes clear that the noon-watered plants are just as verdant and thriving as their dawn and dusk counterparts. But don't just take our word for it. Let's hear from the experts. Botanists, horticulturalists, and seasoned gardeners alike all agree. The idea that watering at noon will burn your plants is all wet. Sunlight, they explain, is diffused as it passes through droplets of water, not focused. And while it's true that watering in full sun can lead to faster evaporation, this is a matter of water efficiency, not plant safety. So, what's the best time to water your plants? Early morning or late evening, when temperatures are cooler and evaporation is slower. This ensures that the water goes deep into the soil, reaching the roots where it's needed most. But if you can't water at these times, don't worry. A good soak at noon won't singe your sage or roast your roses. Sunburn for plants? Not quite. And with that, we can confidently say that this gardening myth is thoroughly waterlogged and debunked. We've debunked some popular gardening myths today, but the garden of knowledge is vast and ever-growing. We've discovered that talking to your plants, although comforting, doesn't necessarily make them flourish. We've unearthed the truth about coffee grounds. They do indeed enrich the soil, but moderation is key. We've cracked open the myth about eggshells. While they might not be the pest deterrent we hoped for, they do contribute to a healthier soil composition. And we've watered down the misconception that more water always equals better growth. It's clear to see that gardening is as much a science as it is an art. Understanding the reasoning behind our practices is crucial. It helps us make informed decisions, promote healthier plant growth, and create more sustainable gardens. As we continue to grow in our gardening journey, let's remember to keep questioning, testing, and learning. Remember, the best garden is a well-informed garden. Keep digging for the truth and happy gardening.